The pressure is getting worse.
The pressure is on. Hi guys, this is your girl Lira, and you're listening to Self-Reflection Podcast. Today we have Chidi Udengwu on Self-Reflection Podcast from Niger Nation. Chidi, can you please introduce yourself?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Lyra just gave me the intro, but what's up? What's going on? My name is Chidi Udengwu. I live in California, near LA, to be exact, in Diamond Bar. And she said I'm from Niger Nation. That's what I'm rocking right now. You know, I'm from Nigeria, so you know I'm proud. So you know I'm loud. And yeah, man, I'm super excited to be on this podcast. It's an honor. I'm a huge fan, for starters. So yeah, I'm hella excited. Let's get it.
Thank you. I want to say thank you for joining me on Self-Reflection Podcast. I hope one day we do get to link up in person so we can do a video in person.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's next. That's definitely next.
For sure. So today we are going to be talking about the African diaspora. But before we get into our topic for today, I want you to explain a little bit about yourself and what you're doing currently when it comes to you being part of the school board where you live right now.
For sure, most definitely. I graduated from Idaho State University. So for starters, I'm a hooper. I play basketball. I'm fairly tall, 6'7". So I play basketball. I graduated from Idaho State University on full-ride basketball scholarship. So, you know, after I graduated, I graduated during COVID. So, you know, that was the first wahala. Graduated during COVID. So, you know, I came back and I really was just kind of like, man, I'm graduating from college. Imagine the kids that are going to go to high school next year, right, with COVID. So I really thought that wasn't my only motivation, but that was a huge motivation. I was like, man, the school district that I went to is not easy. Pomona Unified School District, it's not easy. You know, like, we don't have the best reputation, but, you know, I want me and my siblings to be a case point example, a case improvement example of like, hey, like, you can go through the Pomona Unified School District and be perfectly fine and end up successful, right? Because, you know, sometimes we have this notion that, oh, if you go to this school district, this will happen. If you go to this school, it's not the school district that makes the kid, right? It's really what the kid does whenever they're wherever. So, you know, one of my main motivations is really just having the same positive impact on children that people had on me, right? So again, I wouldn't be this person that I was if I didn't go through the Pomona Unified School District, right? If I didn't have my family, if I didn't have my loved ones around me just supporting me. So what's a life worth living if you're not giving back? So I hope I answered your question. So that's my thing, man.
Oh no, I love the fact that you want to go back and give back and share your experience, because I truly believe like that's what life is really all about, right? Is like us like learning from people that have done it, and then us going back and, you know, sharing our own experience and taking the knowledge that we have learned from other people and passing it back on. So I love what you're doing. You know, when it comes to you being part of the school board in Pomona. So I wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you so much. I mean, it means the world. It means the world.
It would be amazing to see a young African brother like yourself sitting.
Exactly, right, for sure. You know, me, I'm all about, I mean, you know, we know our parents, right? You're from, quote me, Cameroon, right? So we're neighbors already, right? We're cousins. We're right by each other. You know, our parents, you know, where we come from, we're by the book. You know, we like to represent. We need representation, you know, not only in Nigeria, not only in Cameroon, here, in programs here, you know. So again, you know, if I am the vessel that is going to show little Black boys, little Black girls, little brown, BIPOC, Black indigenous people of color, girls and boys, that, hey, when you grow up and you graduate from elementary school and middle school and high school and college, whatever you do, you can do anything you want. You're never gonna be put in a box. So if I'm that vessel, I thank God every day for making me that vessel, because I think that I'm somebody that can handle it. So
Oh, look at you today. You make me smile.
Shut up. Shut up.
I love it. I love it. You know, I'm so proud of you. And I'm excited for you. I'm excited for what the future holds for you in that space. So keep going, man. We need more Africans, you know, out here. Because there's a lot of us out here, if you think about it. Right. It's a lot of us. So keep going.
I got you. We'll do it.
We're gonna jump into our topic today, which is the African diaspora. We're gonna talk about. I have some questions.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
It's time we talk about it. So I think you know you're the perfect person to have this conversation with. So let's get into this podcast episode for today. So my first question to you is, what is the definition of diaspora for anyone that has never heard that word before?
Got it. So the word diaspora, you know, like some people will hear people say the African diaspora, the XYZ diaspora. The word diaspora is, for example, somebody that leaves the mother state and is anywhere else. So the diaspora is not just in the United States. I feel like that's a conception that some people always think, oh, the only diaspora is in the US. No, it's not. As long as you're not in your native country, on your motherland soil, you're in the diaspora. Whether you're in Ireland, you're in the Ireland diaspora. Whether you're in the UK, whether you're in the States, you know, it's all the diaspora. Yeah.
And do you know where the word kind of came from? Because it's such an odd word, right?
Yeah, it is. Like, honestly, I really don't know.
Is it a cool way to say immigrants? Is it, you know,
I feel like it's the professional way to say like fresh off the boat or something like that. Like, I don't know.
Yes, I you know, that's where I'm leaning. What's the difference between a community and a diaspora?
It's a deep one right there. I would say I'll touch on diaspora first. A diaspora is, again, right, what I said, it's just kind of the general, let's use us as an example, right? Our parents came from Africa, came here, right? So you and me were part of the diaspora. Were you born in the States?
No.
Okay, cool. So I can speak on myself. So my parents came here, had me and my siblings, so I'm part of the diaspora, right? So again, that's the diaspora standpoint, is, you know, somebody that leaves the motherland soil, wasn't born there, but, you know, the parents left and they had them anywhere else, right? A community, which is what we need. We need the community, is what just doesn't exist right now. Unfortunately, we're working on it. We're doing a great job, but it just doesn't exist. Community is just you being submerged in your own people that you can trust, whether it's educationally, financially, emotionally, all of it, you know, all of it encompassed into one. You know, that's a community. You know, whether it's education, fashion, music, you know, like just whether it's you and your people, you and, you know, allies, that's what makes a community, you know, is that trust in other people, to where, hey, these people know what I've gone through. Actually, you don't even really need to know what you've gone through. It's not like you need to tell people your traumatic experiences, but it's like, hey, these people know who I am. These people know who I am deep, like not just on a surface level. They know me. I know them. That's a community, in my opinion. In my opinion,
yeah. Would I consider myself a part of the diaspora since I was born in Cameroon, but I moved here?
Yeah, I think so. I definitely, yeah, for sure, because you're not, I know I was saying that like you have to be born elsewhere, but I mean like you still left, right? So I mean, you're still part of the diaspora, right? Because you live over here.
What do you think is the overall effect of diaspora in the sense of belonging or discrimination for those who left their native land or native place in search of livelihood somewhere else?
I think sometimes it can cause a bit of an identity crisis, a little bit, right? Because it's like, it's kind of like being a mixed kid. right? So like it's kind of like being you're half black, half white, right? It's like too black for the white kids, but you're too white for the black kids, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that with the diaspora a little bit, I think, because it's like, okay, you come over here, you still have an accent, but you go back and you don't know how to speak your native tongue because you left a little bit too early, right? So, I mean, I think the overall effect, it's tough because, you know, the notion and the tone that people have when you go back is tough. I can imagine it's tough for you. Imagine how it is for somebody like me, right? Like somebody who doesn't have the accent, doesn't like, I speak my native tongue, but that's because like I learned, right? So I learned how to speak Igbo because I just wanted to. But just the overall effect is it's on the entire diaspora. It's like, again, I think it's an identity crisis a little bit. You know, it can start to cause if, you know, feed into it a little bit too much. But again, anybody that's going through that, you know, it doesn't feel like they belong to the native country or here, it's kind of like, don't mind the nonsense. Discrimination is going to happen everywhere, whether it's black or white. Unfortunately, look at that. See, look at that. Discrimination happens between us, right? Between us, tribalism, that's discrimination, isms. You know what I'm saying? So I think it has a pretty bad effect. And if not solved, if not like cut down, it can really hurt us to continue on. Yeah. You got to think about it, right? Like our parents, like us, right? Us, like I would say 10%, 15% of us know how to speak our native tongue language. Fair? Like fluent top to bottom, right? And it's like, look at that dump off from our parents' generation to us. You know, you can say it's our parents' fault for not wanting to teach us the language because they would be ashamed or whatever the case was, right? But I mean, now it's us. Like now imagine how our kids are gonna be. It's like, you know, they say when a language dies, culture dies. Because it's like that's you know what I'm saying? That's your tongue, that's your dialect, right? So, you know, I think it has a pretty big effect.
Yeah, I think you touch on something really, really huge. Actually, two things that I want to recap on. You talked about identity crisis, right? And then you also talk about when the language gets lost, that, you know, that's who you are. That's part of your culture. You know, part of you kind of when that happened, you know, and I want to talk about identity crisis. I think I kind of went through that phase, right? Of like me being, trying to fit in the American culture when I was like really young, and going back home and try to fit in my African home lifestyle type of situation. And I remember like family and friends will always tell me like, you're too white, you're like whitewashed, you're too white, you're this, you're that. And then I go with my American friends, it's like, oh, you're African, da 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 da. So it's like, you go between this person, like, who really am I, you know? And in the middle of all of that, there's that lost, like you say, identity crisis there. It's like, am I too white for my family? Because I hang out a lot with like American kids when I was younger. And then when I go with my American friends, it's like, am I too African for them? Right. Or, you know, so I can definitely see that. And I've spoke to other Africans here, and I think, you know, we kind of have similar experience of the sense that.
Yeah. So if you don't mind me asking, do you still feel like that?
I think now, for a while, I kind of dismissed my African side for a while. Like, you know, because I really merged into the American like lifestyle and culture. So now I don't think I feel like, am I African or am I American? Because I'm more aware of who I am. I know my roots and all of that stuff. So I have accept like sometimes and some days I'm going to have to be Americanized. Like, you know, like when I go out into like the American community, I have to be Americanized in a way. And then when I'm back home, or I'm not back home, but when I'm with my family, I want to speak Pidgin and I want to speak, you know, as much African language that I can get. I want to eat as much African food that I can get when I'm at home. So it's like I'm actually just like loving both like culture now and really putting both of them together. Like now I don't mind posting or wearing African outfits, but
Right.
before I don't think I would have.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, before I was really like I had removed myself from that part of my culture, and then I felt like, you know, who cares? It's time to go back. It's time to love where you come from. It's time to love who you are.
Absolutely. And I think it's so funny because like, sorry, excuse me. I think it's so funny because like, you know, people born here like me and a lot of us, we're so proud. Like we're like, yo, you can't tell me shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I am Niger to the bone. To the bone. You know what I'm saying? So it's just funny, like, you know, people, we call it speaking Fone. Like in Nigeria, like when somebody has a thick ass accent, they try to have that American accent. It's called Fone. So like you have Nigerians trying to move over here and just like speak Fone. I'm like, nah, like keep your accent. That's you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But you know, I get it. Different perspectives. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's a tricky place to be. It's a tricky place to be because I think when you're born here, you don't have that like fob experience, kind of.
Yeah.
No, there's that difference of like an African American kid, because even my cousins that are born here, it's not the same. Like we have similar experience, but at the same time it's not really the same, because it's like I have lived in Africa or in Cameroon and I have that experience.
Yeah.
Like moving here, it's like, I don't know, you know, you're trying to adapt and just trying to figure it out. It's like a lost world for sure.
Yeah, no, real life, yeah.
But you know, for any African girl, boy that's listening to this podcast right now, embrace where you come from. You know, it took me a long time to get to where I am today, to love my culture, to put Africa on my head and try to carry it around. So if you are listening to this, embrace your African roots, embrace your African culture. You know, I think that's one thing that's really a lot of African Americans that come from slave descendants, or like their forefathers were here before. I think that's something that's really missing in their culture, right? In the Black Americans like cultures, like they don't really know exactly where they come from. So if you're in an African diaspora and you know exactly where you come from, love where you come from, embrace where you come from, you know, be proud of it. You know, it's a long way to go, but be proud of it.
Amen.
You know? Yeah. Our continent is not the best, but we're still proud of it.
Be loud and proud, man. We some of the proudest people out here, man, real life.
Absolutely. 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 How has the African diaspora affect the world?
I think in many ways. I mean, let's think of one prevalent example right now with being music. It's kind of like, the amount of African music, Afro beats really taking over the music industry is insane. It's just insane, point blank period. It is. Honestly, I want to go as far as saying Afro beats is legitimately carrying the music industry right now. It's just carrying the music industry. And you know, the diaspora, we're so powerful, we're so smart, we have so many resources because of our parents, you know, that's a lot. So yeah, I'd say we have a huge impact on the world. And, you know, that's why, you know, something like Niger Nation, I think it's just so important, because it doesn't matter how much power or money we have if we don't have the organization.
Absolutely.
Right? We're not organized. Like, disorganization is the only thing that hinders us Black people, us Africans, us African Americans. That's it. If we're organized, there's not much that can it would be a whole different story, right? But again, unorganization, selfishness, crab in a barrel, right? Like you feel like you got to pull down your brother or sister to get to the top and make it. That's all disorganization, right? So that's why I think, you know, communities like Niger Nation and really bridging that gap, you know, making that the goal to bridge that gap between African culture and Black culture It's just so important, you know?
Yeah. And since we're talking about Niger Nation, can you share a little bit about what you guys do? Make I hear no. Tell me.
Like, man, that's you catching me right when I'm drinking water. Yeah, for sure. So Niger Nation, you know, we are a Nigerian international community, Nigerian international agency. Anything Nigerian, we want to encompass, you know, because Nigerians, you know, we're called the African giants. That's because they say, you know, if Nigeria is good, then all of Africa will be good, but Nigeria is not good, so all of Africa is not good. So, you know, Niger Nation, again, is for people in the diaspora like us, you know, like, you know, our parents came over from Nigeria, you know, they have their communities here, they throw parties. My parents here, they know other parents in DC and they're friends, but us, we're separated by states. For what? You know, why are we separated by states? Because there's no organization, right? So, you know, Niger Nation, we have merchandise, you know, as you see that I'm rocking right now. We're hosting in-person events. We have a scholarship, just anything Nigerian. There's so many things in between that we do, whether it's education, fashion, music, arts, books, sports, you know, anything that a Nigerian person would do. We want them to be able to turn around and say, hey, I'm Nigerian. Okay, I like books, but I like sports. Okay, but we can meet in the middle of Niger Nation, right? Like we can, like that's gonna be the central hub for everything Nigerian. And yeah, you know, right now, every single day, we're just building up on digital media, building up on social media, because we live in a digital world. And you know, we're just growing the team every single day. Something like this, I'm not gonna say Niger Nation has never been done before, but it's never been done the right way, right? So it's not that people haven't sold Nigerian t-shirts, right? Excuse me. It's just that people haven't sold Nigerian t-shirts at an affordable price that people would like. Yeah. So like, you know, people are selling t-shirts like this for $60. Are you gonna buy a t-shirt like this for $60? Probably not, right? But you might buy it for 10 or 15. So you know, I just think, you know, I just think it comes from just knowing things, you know, just knowing and just being selfless and just wanting to put the community first. And yeah, that's what Niger Nation is in a quick little 2-minute spiel.
I love it. And I'm so excited for the work that you guys are doing, you know, connecting a whole community, a whole diaspora, a lot of people, putting them in one place, like definitely something that's necessary and needed for us and our people. So thank you.
No, thank you so much. It means the world. Thank you. Thank you, man.
My boy, Chidi.
Oh my God.
From Niger Nation. Give Niger Nation a shout out real quick.
Yo. Say no more. Hey, shout out to Niger Nation. All my Niger people wetting this up. We did. Worldwide. We did. We did here. We die here. Yeah, man, shout out to Niger Nation though, man. Follow Niger Nation on Instagram at Niger, Naija, and then the word nation on Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, TikTok, whatever you want, Google, LinkedIn, whatever you got, follow us. We'll be in your city soon, man. We throw events nationwide, so we move. Don't miss out.
Yes, Niger Nation is coming down to San Jose or Bay Area. Let's put it in the Bay Area because we don't know exactly where the location is gonna be, but Niger Nation's coming down here.
No, we're definitely like gonna do something in the Bay, but like, give me an event, give me something. Like, what should we do?
What's there to do in the Bay? There's a bunch of nature. You can go hiking.
Okay, but how do you organize that? It's a big ass hiker.
I think we were talking yesterday. We talked about like speed dating, talent show. So we'll see.
Karaoke night, you know.
Karaoke night. You know, just have some Africans come together,
enjoy
each other, enjoy our culture, enjoy our people. Maybe a little bit of, you know, rice and fufu and dole.
Enjoyment.
So yeah,
So
Okay, let's get back into our question. Shout out to Niger Nation again. I think we left off on what can the diaspora do to contribute to the development in Africa?
I think what we're doing right now is great. You know, us sending money back home to our relatives that live there. But the next step, the most important step is, you know, after we get our bearings down here, you know, it may sound crazy, but you know, after we're 40 years old, 50 years old, and hopefully we have a stable enough career, just gotta make that jump. Leap of faith. Just gotta like pick everything up from here, say fuck it, excuse my language, say F it, and go back to Nigeria, go back to the motherland, go back to Cameroon, go back to Sierra Leone, go back to the Congo, and really build, because you have the money. Currency is different, right? So I mean, you have that power, you have the opportunity, but it's like, hey, who's gonna do it?
Move.
Move, man. You gotta move, baby. You gotta move, baby.
Do you plan on retiring back in Nigeria?
Honestly, I plan on being the president of Nigeria.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah, so I plan on being the president of Nigeria, and yeah, so I do plan on retiring in Nigeria.
Wait, since you weren't born in Nigeria, is that still possible?
Yeah, that was my first concern as well, but yeah, it is.
Oh wow! Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So do you have dual citizenship?
Yeah, I've been back to Nigeria like 6 times.
Okay.
That boy.
I beg, make you go strong. I definitely am back. I go even give Nigerian citizenship so I can vote.
Oh yeah, I go see you there now. Okay.
I will vote. I will be voting. I'll be the first person at the poll to vote.
Oh, love.
So I do agree with what you said about, like, you know, us going back home and building and, you know, developing our country, or our countries, I guess you can say. When it comes to like us going back home and developing and like helping our community grow, this is just my thought. Since there's a lot of like civil war in Africa, what do you think the diaspora, people outside of Africa can support or help with that right now? Because multiple countries are fighting civil war at the moment. Like Chad, Cameroon is still in one right now, and Boko Haram is still everywhere in Africa. So how can people in the diaspora support or try to develop ways that we can, you know, stop the civil wars that we have in our countries?
Bring up a great point. You know, bring up a great point. Me personally, I think overall, you know, the amount of corruption that goes on in Africa is just truly so sad and heartbreaking. You know, that we do have to deal with militias like Boko Haram and, you know, just people that are just terrorizing our own continent, right, for selfish reasons. There's not much we can do. Unfortunately, there's not much we can do. We can like continue to send our relatives money, right, to let them at least have some resources, but there's not much that we can do to stop that exactly. It's kind of like over here, right? Like you can't stop somebody from shooting somebody, can you? No, but you can put things into place so then it's like, you know, the amount of shootings are less and less and less, right? So I think the thing that we need to put into place in Africa is good governance. No place in Africa has good governance. I know Nigeria for a fact, all the politicians top to bottom are extremely corrupt. It's bad. You know, it's bad. That's the reason why the country's bad. The people are ungovernable because there's no government. So I would say that's step number one. You know what? That's what the diaspora needs to do. That's why I'm saying that's one thing I'm extremely passionate about. So, you know, wanting to go over there and actually get into a position to where you're gonna actually make a change.
Yeah.
Like a real change, right? I mean, you know, people can say, oh, raise awareness this, raise awareness that, but it's like, you just saying words only gonna do so much. You tweeting hashtags is only gonna do so much. Us changing our profile pictures is only gonna do so much. Like, at what point in time do we just say, hey, you know what? We have one life. F it. I'm just gonna try to do something to help the betterment of my people. You know, I think if more people had that mindset, there's no way we would lose.
Yeah, no, I agree. You know, you touch on a lot of good things there, like corruption, the government. You know, I think every African country is pretty much corrupt. And it's so sad because it's like the people that end up, like, you know, suffering from, you know, getting nothing or getting the short end of the stick.
Exactly.
You know, we need more of us to go back home. You know, if you can support yourself here and you have extra to support someone else, I think going back home, you know, it's definitely where it's needed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's where it's needed.
Yeah, you know, and putting people like you in power definitely will bring change.
My head is on the ground. You're too sweet. Thank you, man. Thank you.
So it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I definitely believe that, you know, our generation is here to bring change. That's my belief, to be honest. Our generation is, I don't care if it's in the US, Africa, I think our generation is, you know, we have the power to be able to make a turn in our society and in every community that we're in. So I'm really rooting for our generation right now. I'm rooting for the people that are trying to make a difference in this world, because I truly believe we can. You know, I truly believe we can. So let's get back into talking about African diaspora. Yeah. How does, my next question to you is, how does the African diaspora impacts Africa as a continent today? You might have touched on this negatively or positively, you know.
You said, how does the diaspora impact Africa as a whole?
Yeah. As more, I guess I can go in depth, is more Africans are leaving, you know, right. They're running away from Africa. So how is that impacting our continent right now?
All right, yeah, I'll touch on it overall. I think the fact that, you know, people don't want to be on our motherland anymore, it's really tough, because the only real source of funding comes from people in the diaspora sending money back home, right? So there's not really any real jobs, there's not really any real currency in the continent, in the countries, right? Because everybody's leaving. And there's no real work, there's no anything. So I think it's a full-fledged circle of just, damn, you know, it's tough. So yeah. It's tough. Yeah. I agree. You know, I think the more people that run away or leave our Africa as a whole, the less, you know, the less people are there to actually like try to like develop it and grow it. So, you know, I could see it being a really, I don't know, because people don't want to be in their own country. Like, imagine growing up wanting to be in your own country because of how it's been governed and all these other things that come with it, you know? Heartbreaking.
But how can we develop a bridge between Africa and African diasporas? Like,
yeah, I think it's very
Africans and African diaspora. I think that's the question.
I think it's very simple. I think the way that we bridge the gap is by building community in the diaspora first, you know, making sure that we're good in the diaspora first, because, you know, fortunately, face the facts. You gotta face the facts that you can't help somebody if you're not good.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So how can we possibly organize back home if we're not organized here, where there are more resources, right? So I would say step number one is just get organized here. Get organized here, simple, right? The way that we're going to do that is through communities. organizations, individuals taking that initiative and saying, hey, you know what? This isn't just about me. This is bigger than me. This is for my people. Like there needs to be individuals that feel like, hey, what I'm doing can change the course of the world, right? Because if you can change the diaspora, you can unite the diaspora, it's a big funnel. The diaspora goes back to the country. The country is the world.
Yeah. I agree. Great point there. Great point. And I think this is our final question. What would you like to see African countries do more or change in the moment?
I would like to see African countries respect women. I would like to see African countries have stable electricity. I would like to see African countries have clean water. I would like to see African countries have access for their students after they graduate school to have a normal job. I would like to see African countries not have their currency be able to be just burned because it's just so low. I would like to see African countries live up to the full potential that they can. I would like to see African countries go back to what they used to be and be the powerhouse of the world. And I would like to see African countries unite.
Let's go.
Was that good? I mean, that's what I would like to see.
Let's go. Let's go. I think we could do it. We have to protect our home. That's ours. It's ours, and we have to protect it. And I love everything you said. I'm on the same vibration with you. I can't. I'm just leave it and drop the mic. Thank you again so much for joining me on Self-Reflection Podcast. I every time me and you talk, see, I don't even want to talk for pidgin. Anytime with me, I already talk.
Good time, or it's good time.
Every time we speak, it's been amazing. It's been beautiful. Your energy is always felt, even when we're on the phone. Like, I can still feel your energy. I get off the phone and it's like, light, positive, encouraging moment right there. So thank you.
You're absolutely too sweet. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I want to say, do you want to give your Instagram a shout out? Do you want to give Naija Nation, of course, again, another shout out?
Absolutely. For starters, let me start off with saying you are amazing. You're such a lovely person. I feel the exact same way. And yeah, man, this is such an amazing podcast. Again, I'm honored to be on it. It was great. I had so much fun. You're a breath of fresh air to talk to, so keep it up. I'm really going to continue to look forward to your episodes, and it's great. It was really great. But yeah, my Instagram name is @Chidi. This is my name, @CHIDI. Last name is Udengwu. And then Naija Nation, you can follow us. Wearing the shirt @NAIJA. NATION. Again, we got the merch. We're beginning to coordinate events nationwide. So follow us up, man. Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. Future president right there of Nigeria. We're calling it today. Today is the 7th of October. It's going to happen. And this recording is going to come out later, but it's going to happen. We're manifesting it, and you're already on the way. You know what I'm saying? You're already on the way.
Amen.
Future,
thank you so much. Amen.
Future president of Nigeria right there. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the work you do. Thank you for joining me again on Self-Reflection Podcast. I appreciate you, and I appreciate your time, as I know you're a busy man. Okay.
Hey, I make time for the things that people I care about, man. So
amen. Amen. Thank you.
Of course.
Right. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. If this is your first time coming across Self-Reflection Podcast, you can connect with me on Instagram @Lira, LIRA_NDIFON. Also, there's a YouTube page that you can find this full video on. The name is Self-Reflection Podcast, just Self-Reflection Podcast. And also you can find Self-Reflection Podcast on any platform you get your podcast from. Thank you guys so much. I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. More to come with me and this young man, y'all. More to come.
No. We're not gonna call me a young man. Look how young she looks.
All right. More to come. We can edit that part. More to come.
No. Leave it. This girl looks like a baby. This is a baby. It's all good, bro. It's all good, bro. All right, y'all.
Thank you. Have a great day. Take care of yourself. Love yourself. Be kind and be gentle with yourself.
Amen.
Until next time, you're listening to Self-Reflection Podcast, and this is your girl, Lyra. Ta-da!